Hi everyone. I think today's day 69. Pretty sure. So, today I'm really tired. I have to say though, today's the first day that I feel pressure as usual, but not really a lot of pain. I haven't taken Tylenol since yesterday. It's nighttime now. It's like 7:30 at night. I'm not really sure why. Yesterday was really weird, and I know I vlogged late, so I was tired. But I was trying to digest a bit more about like my feelings about my oncology appointment yesterday. And I had an appointment with the therapist from the cancer center this morning. And I mean, it's great when you speak to someone like that you could just be totally, flat out open and honest, and they get it because they work with people all the time that deal with this stuff. And what I told him, which I probably awkwardly said yesterday, was that when they told me that I don't need radiation or chemo, I should have been like, woohoo, excited. And I was happy, but my reaction was pretty much what it is right now. And I'm like, I don't really understand why I'm not jumping up and down happy. And the irony was when I first found out that I had, and if I'm repeating myself from yesterday, whatever, but when I first found out that I had cancer, the first thing that I thought was, who's going to hold back my hair when I vomit in the toilet from chemo? That was like the very first thing that popped into my head over and over and over again. Like, I'm going to be vomiting in the bathroom because that's what you see in the movies. I did talk about this last night, so I'll just end it with that. But like, who's going to hold back my hair? I'm not going to ask my son to do that. So you would think that finding out that I don't need chemo makes me happy. And yes, I am happy. But like, this is my happy right now, and I'm not really understanding it. Almost like when I found out I had cancer and I didn't really cry about it for a long time. I was like in action mode. And now it's like I'm in inaction mode because I don't have the next step. Maybe that's what it is. Huh. That's what I like about these vlogs. I come on and like, I see my grabber over there that I got from the Council on Aging. So I do want to talk about the Council on Aging, but I feel like I'll do that tomorrow or something. But there's always something. This is why people journal, but I don't like to write stuff down on paper and my arms hurt. But something always comes back to me, even when I'm digesting this out loud to all of you. I think that's what it was. If they had told me I needed radiation, I would have known, okay, let's close this chapter. I mean, this chapter isn't closed. Speaking of clothes, like I'm annoyed that I'm wearing like a button-down striped orange shirt with a blue hoodie. I don't really care. Fashion is not my priority right now. I will get dressed up for the for the football games. And by dressed up, I mean I ordered a button-down long sleeve shirt to wear and an extra large so I have room for my growing belly. But for right now, I don't really care. I don't care how many days I've worn this hoodie. I love this hoodie. It's so comfy, cozy. Anyway, I think that's what it was. I was expecting to close a chapter and start the next chapter. And like, the next chapter is chemotherapy. Or the next chapter is this. And the next chapter is this. Because that's what it's like. I mean, my whole life is like a friggin' novel. I've been through a lot in my life and learned a lot of things and could write a really great book, but a lot of the stuff I've gotten through I'm not allowed to talk about. So I keep my trap shut, and I'm very protective of my kids, so I don't share stuff there, whatever. But anyway, yeah, you have different chapters in your life, and then when one thing closes, then another thing opens. And that's what I don't have after my appointment yesterday. Like I said this yesterday, people tied together, you have the surgery, you have these ladies and whatever you choose to do with them. That's one. Okay, close the chapter, sort of, because this, put a bookmark in it, I guess, because the surgery is done. I'm still healing. Not to be gross, but I'm pretty open, clearly. I don't think I was really oozing today. I was going to shower, but instead I put some stuff away and I went for a walk at a normal pace, which was a really big deal for me. And I switched my bra out back into the one I got from the hospital, the one with the text things on it. I don't know if you can see the red. You probably can't because it's towards my back. The one I got from the hospital. The other one that I had, the super soft one, when my belly is big, it rolls up on the bottom of it, and it's just uncomfortable. So that's a nice bra if I'm standing, but if I'm laying down or something, and it just keeps like rolling up and it puts pressure on there, it's just not comfortable. I'm all over the place. Yeah, let's just go back to the chapter book thing. If she had told me I needed chemo, I could have put the bookmark in about the surgery. This still has to heal. These are not going to be done for like, 6 months, a year, something like that. Because it has to heal. You go for your follow-ups, whatever. Then you have if I choose to have a nipple put on, that's another decision to make, a procedure to do. And then there's the tattooing, which is another thing to have done. When they're done, I hear they'll be spectacular, but right now, it's a matter of healing, and that comes in stages. It takes 6 to 8 weeks just for the mastectomy to like totally heal on average. I can't see that being 6 weeks because for me, it's like I'm on week 3.5, and like I still can't even, my up and down is fine, but my out, I can't put a seatbelt on, for Pete's sake, by myself. I can't put a seatbelt on. So that chapter has a bookmark in it, maybe a couple, but it has a bookmark in it. It's not closed because we're still dealing with stuff, but moving along in the story. If I had gone yesterday and she would say, okay, next step is chemo, because that's what you expect when you hear cancer, be like, okay, chapter 3 or whatever, chemo, and then you start that. And she didn't say that, which is a good thing. It's good news. But now I'm at chapter 3 and it's like there's writer's block. What is chapter 3? They don't know. They know options, but there's so many moving pieces that they don't know chapter 3. And what's interesting is there's so many different books out there about breast cancer. And I had so many recommendations for them. And in hindsight, I'm actually glad that I did not read them. Because I feel like if you read them, you have this expectation that your story will be like that. And the stories are so different. And I am usually a super, super planner. Clearly, you can't plan this. I did not see this coming at all. But I did not do a ton of research. I really didn't have a lot of time. It was all so friggin' fast when the whole thing happened. When I first went, just to rewind, for those that didn't see this part, when I was first diagnosed and I saw the breast surgeon and I said, when is all this happening? And she goes, let's get a date on in 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? 2 weeks is not enough time to understand that A, you have breast cancer, and B, your boobs will be gone in 2 weeks. And as a single mom, I'm like, my focus is we need to get shit together in this house to get things up and functioning, because I don't know what to expect after this in 2 weeks. I was focused on my boobs. I had no idea I was going to have such limited range of motion in my arms. No idea. Maybe I should have read the book. But I think that's what it was, because I don't know what the next chapter is. And it's like you go to the oncologist, so chapter 3 should be like oncology. But there's nothing written after that. I mean, she gave me information, but I don't know what the plan is. And I have to wait for her to talk to my vascular doctor and or talk to my gynecologist and see what the next step is for me. Yeah, the FMD thing is just, it's there. It hasn't really thrown a loop in life much. but now it has. And then I have to think about, what's the best health decision for me to do? And same thing where I know I have super, super, super qualified people that are making these decisions, together as a team of what's best for me. And I trust that. But I have to say, when I was diagnosed with FMD and they told me that my risk of stroke was increased, and I'm like, screw that. It was right around 4th of July when I found out. Oh, that's so weird. That's so weird. It was in June, I think, because I remember school was still in session, because I went to the ER. Like, I drove myself there. I had a headache. I didn't really think it was a big deal, but then found out about all this stuff. But I remember it was 4th of July when I must have had like my CTAs or something. And then I remember going to this fair that's in town, not an amusement park, a fair, mind you, the kind, where like everything's all rickety, whatever. And I'm like, screw this. Don't tell me I can't go on roller coasters. And I went on every friggin' damn roller coaster until I started getting kind of nauseous. And I'm reading all the warnings of don't do this if you have this. And I'm like, fine, I won't. But I've gone on, I love roller coasters. I've gone on so many, it's not as big a deal. But it is kind of interesting how that was 4 years ago, same time of year. I don't know. I'm not that superstitious to think that something's going to happen in 3 or 4 years. But so yeah, the chapter thing, I don't know what's next. And I think that's why I'm kind of emotionless about it. I think that's why I don't have the happy, yay, there's no cancer chapter, or like, just get rid of that. Or, I'm sorry, chemo chapter, woo. There's no chapter for that, great. But what's the next chapter? I don't know. It's oncology, and it's blank. And I don't like blank pages. I like to know information. I'm a teacher, I'm a lifelong learner. And there's no information there. And I think that that's why I'm stuck. Also, I'm learning patience. Axl Rose. I got to play that song more frequently. Yeah, that it'll come in time. They'll figure it out. I'm sure I'll hear something by week's end as to what's going on or what to do, or at least to tell me what they came up with. I don't know. Even if it's next week, it's not a huge deal. Yeah, but I think that's what it is. Everyone's journey is so different. You can't compare your story with everyone else's. And I made a comment yesterday about fake book. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook and social media. It's great for certain things, but again, you have to remember that people are only posting the stuff that they want to post up there. I tend to be that exception to the rule where I'll post either way. And I'm glad that I do. Some people, very, very few people actually have said to me like TMI. And I'm like, that's the problem with most people is they think a lot of things are TMI. And then stuff happens and they're like, I don't know what to do. I wish someone had told me this, blah, blah, blah. If people weren't so like tight-lipped about so much stuff, people wouldn't need to be scared and they just have more information and be less scared to ask questions. Granted, it's taken me many, many years to get to the point of where I am now, because I used to be that way, but I'm not like that anymore. So I don't look at it as a TMI. I just look at it as like an MI, where it's more information that you should share. Like I did that nipple thing, whatever, and I wasn't being inappropriate about it. I was being honest that like that's where my head is at. And it's really bizarre and it sucks. There was one I was going to do about masturbation, but I don't know how my kids would feel about me talking about that. So I'll put that on hold for right now. But all I'll say basically is like, you're losing, again, going back to the nipples. And maybe I even said this back with the nipple one. You're losing an erogenous zone by not having your nipples anymore. But you still have others. I mean, I guess that's one of the perks to being a woman is that you have multiple areas that are erogenous zones. I mean, men do too. Fun fact, there's actually a spot on the inside of a man's ear that's like not in the hole, like up in the loop part. That's an erogenous zone. Also didn't learn that till I was much older too. And it's true, not just with one person, like it's actually a thing that there's an erogenous zone on the inside of a man's ear. Not like a wet willy kind of thing. It's in the little hook thing up top. So yeah, if you have a partner, you can have some fun with that tonight. Yeah, so I don't know what to expect. And I think that's why I'm just a bit numb about the whole thing. And I'm glad that I just talked for 15 minutes about that, just to sort that out. And yeah, the fake book thing, you know, your story is your own, even when it comes to this. Like, I didn't even know that they do, you know, I've heard of, obviously, the stages of cancer, 0 through 4. I didn't know they had an A and a B. Maybe in 10 years we'll have an A through D. I don't know. I'm happy to be 1A. I reverse that and say A1, and I don't even like steak sauce on my steak. But like A1, I'll take that. I will take that. Very much. Yeah, but it's the chapters of a book. And that's what I just figured out. See how awesome this is? It's like, I help you, you help me. Amazing. I did get that back from the senior center, which I can't forget to vlog about that, because they dropped off a bag of stuff and I used it today to take down my son's birthday decorations. I got all of them except for one that had a lot of tape on it. And I was like, wow, this thing is pretty awesome. Super, super, super awesome. So I want to go through all those pieces, one of which I can't figure out what the heck it is. So you can help me out with that. What I also did today, a friend of mine came over this morning. I love. Someone texted me yesterday and said, hi, how can I help you? Or something like that. Not help, how can I help? What can I do to help you? Which I said is like the best question ever. This is why I do this kind of stuff. That's the question I need to know. And yesterday, I wasn't quite sure, because I'm like in between chapters right now. As I'm saying, I don't have paint. The pages are blank. I don't know what I needed yesterday. Yesterday was just kind of a weird day for me. So I didn't know, but I said to her, can you ask me that same question in like over the weekend or something? When I have more time to digest, and I'll know what I need more. But this morning, I need to get on a more regular schedule about walking. One of the things that was emphasized is my legs still work just fine. My abs still work just fine. Yes, I'm bloated, but my abs still work. I'm telling you, man, if there's one highlight of any of this stuff is like, I'm using my abs for stuff I've never used them for in, I don't know, 5+ years. They're getting quite a workout. And the burn that you feel when you use your abs when you're working out, I feel that a lot, because I have to use my abs to do a lot. Even getting up from this chair, I'm using my abs. It's such an instinctual thing to put your hands down or your elbow down to move around. And, you know, think about that you can't do that. You can't put weight on your hands, and you can't put weight on your elbows. If you do it inadvertently, you'll feel it. Well, at least I feel it. And I could be in pain for hours after that happens. So yeah, I'm using my core for a lot. And this morning, one tip that he gave me this morning about cars, because I said, you know, like, I'm supposed to go back to work in 2 weeks. Like, how do I do that? I'm not even, like, I'm cleared to drive, but I can't even reach to get the freaking seatbelt on. I have my little cushion that goes around, which I showed you, but I'm like, I can't turn to, like, get the seatbelt on. I could probably drive with my hands at the bottom of the steering wheel, but I'm not going to drive unsafely. And granted, I don't work very far from my home, but I am not getting behind the wheel of a car if I don't feel safe doing that. I will not do that. And I also don't have, I mean, my son's school is not far from where I work, and I don't have the endurance to walk from his school to work or vice versa. And I only work there part-time, so I would need to be home. Like I wouldn't be there a full school day. So yeah, I don't know how it's supposed to work. Like, I can't, even taking my laptop from like one room into another, I don't know how much my laptop actually weighs. It's not like a huge laptop. It's a MacBook. But it feels like it weighs a lot because it's probably the heaviest thing I carry around, and I rarely ever move it because it's awkward. And then even plugging the charger into a wall, it's awkward because the pushing and the pulling is awkward. Opening my door, like just to get into my building, like it hurts with the pushing, pulling. And I don't want to, I mean, it's okay to do stuff to push a little bit, but not to the point that like if I pull a muscle, like Jesus Christ, that's the last thing that I need to have happen is to pull a muscle opening a stupid door because it's too much for me to handle. So I really, really have to be careful about how I move that. And even typing, keeping my arm, and I'm like super good with ergonomics of how I work. But keeping your arm even at a 90-degree angle is just, for extended periods of time, it's hard. There are forms I need to fill out, and I'm asking people if I can do them as voice memos and send them the file of the voice memo because I can't type it all out. I can't type for more than like 5 minutes, honestly, without it hurting. So, I don't know. But they tell me like 6 to 8 weeks is average. Some people take less, some people take more. Your body is going to be the one to know, and it's totally true. My body is by far the one who's running the show here. So when you say you have to try to listen to your body, when you go through this crap, there is no option. Your body is what's dictating everything. Because there's no like thought in my head, oh, I want to get up and right now clear off my dining room table or whatever. Okay, but if my body's not saying I can, then I just can't. It trumps everything right now. Which is what's kind of forcing me to lay down even when I know that there's stuff to do, but I'm like, I can't. My abs have had enough. I just can't get up one more time because my abs are so sore from getting up and I can't use my arms to get myself up. But my legs are working fine. So, actually more than fine. I'm actually sore at the top of my legs where they hit my torso. I don't even know what muscle that is or why. But when I go up my stairs, I notice that I'm sore there. Maybe it's from the way I'm bending over more because I don't bend forward. Because again, it still feels like I have anvils on here. But I feel now like the anvils are crazy glued to my chest versus dangling from like a chain. The gabapentin's wearing off. I feel like they're crazy glued. And this is the weirdness of me that I can't really show you that. But like when I get those pains, my hands like instinctively just go down to here. And then I end up walking around with my hands on my boobs, which is not very socially acceptable. But the gabapentin's wearing it off, and I need to take another one before bed. What was I saying? Walking. So, yeah, the doctor encouraged me to walk more, even though it has nothing to do with my upper body. He's like, if you walk, and do whatever you can with the parts that are working, basically like waist down or abs down, you building up your endurance that way will help everything else heal too. So I'm like, all right, I can do that. My quads right now, my thighs are like, when I'm flexing, they're hard as rocks, man. So a friend of mine came over. Oh, she texted me and asked if I needed something for help today because it's Wednesday and then someone comes for help. Well, they're supposed to come for help every Wednesday. No one had signed up until the last second. Something happened with my Sign Up Genius. I don't know what happened. And I said, yeah, because I needed some stuff brought out to my storage unit. And I asked, like, if she can come for a walk, because I wanted to start walking at the same pace I normally walk at, like moving my way up, not going from one extreme to the other. But I don't feel comfortable doing that by myself. I don't mind walking around my lawn like twice or whatever on my own at a slow rate. I don't want to test my speed and do that by myself, because what happens is I'll get dizzy, and if I fall, I'm screwed. So I went out to my storage unit twice with her. She carried stuff, but still I walked there twice, and then walked around the lawn, and I consciously was walking like I would normally walk. It was still slower because I'm a pretty fast walker. It was still slower than normal, but I was walking like a 60-year-old would walk and not like an 80-year-old would walk. I don't know what my rate was because I didn't open that app to see, but I tried walking what would be a less, like, a more normal rate, I guess, for me. And as soon as I started doing that, I felt dizzy. But she was right next to me. We both had our masks on, even though we were outside, but she was right next to me. So I knew that, like, she could, you know, pick me up. She's thin and stuff, but she's muscular. So I know she could like grab me if I felt dizzy or something. So I slowed it down and I tried it again. And we went around twice around the circle, and I walked at a relatively normal-ish rate. Granted, when I was done, I had to sit, or not sit, I leaned against like outside of my building, against the building, because I couldn't walk up the stairs after doing that. I had to wait. And then did that for a bit, came up, and then started having pains in my left boob. And then wanted to keep socializing, but couldn't, and had to go in and have lunch and whatever. So I was gonna shower, and then all that happened, and then like this is what happened instead. I know whenever my air kicks on, you guys can hear it, and I'm really close by to that. So I'll get a little bit closer, but I'll wind things down. So yeah, that was my activity level for today. I do want to shower tomorrow just so I don't feel so grimy. And I do have an appointment next week to get my hair washed by someone else because I had my roots done, and I'm nervous that if I wash it on my own in the shower or shampoo it on my own in the shower, if I still have color that comes out, I don't want it on my stitches and stuff. So I'm just gonna go to a salon and just have someone wash my hair. I don't even need them to blow it dry. I just need them to wash it because I can't shampoo it. All right, so that's it. I'll come back to the grabbers tomorrow or something because there's other stuff that they sent me from the Council on Aging that I want to share with you. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And yeah, that's where I am. Emotionless, that's where I am. Because there's nothing written in the chapter that I'm on right now. I'm just waiting and seeing. And I will practice having patience. Because all you need is just a little patience. You'll never have that song out of your head for the rest of the day. You're welcome. Bye.